Welcome to Conversations with Laurel, everyone. I am your host, Laurel McCargue. And today I have with me another must-read book from a middle grade author, Barbara Carroll Roberts. Barbara, welcome to Conversations with
Thank you.
Laurel.
Thank you. It's very nice to be here. Thank you for
It's nice
inviting
to
me.
it's nice to be here too. And I see that we wore the same colors today.
Yes, it was
How,
perfect.
how
We
did
didn't
we
even plan it.
how did we do that? We didn't even plan it. It must be both of us recognizing that fall is in the air, but we want to hang on to summer.
That is definitely it for me. I
Oh
definitely
my
want to hang
goodness.
on to summer.
And you're in Virginia
I'm
right
in
now?
Northern Virginia, just outside of Washington, D.C.
All righty. We lived in Woodbridge, we actually Burke for about a year and then Woodbridge for 5 years, back in
So
the day.
I'm not
Um,
too far from there.
yeah, it was a great place to live, great people, kids grew up there. Anyway, yes, we're hanging on to summer and we still have hummingbirds here in Colorado. So they're not ready to leave yet either.
That's pretty good.
Just saying. Anyway, we're going to talk today about the metamorphosis of Bunny Baxter. First, let me say what a gorgeous cover this is. I
I am so fortunate in this illustrator. I also had a picture book out a few years ago, and the illustrator for that was wonderful too. And um, I don't think a lot of people realize this, but authors, generally speaking, do not choose their illustrator. The publisher chooses the illustrator. And yes, I've been extremely fortunate. I love this cover.
I do too. I got it and I'm like, "Oh, I can't wait to read this." And I was not disappointed. Oh my goodness. All right, I haven't asked my authors in a while to give me an elevator pitch, but I'm going to ask you. And for those listeners out there, if you don't know what an elevator pitch is, it's basically you're an author, you've finished a book or you're working on a book, and you get into an elevator on level one, and all of a sudden there's an editor there or an agent there, and you chat and they say, "Oh, what's your book about?" And you have maybe two or three floors to tell them what your book's about. So go, tell me what your book's about.
Oh dear. Well, so this one is it's hard to compress it into just a minute. So it's about a girl who is extraordinarily shy. She also is fascinated by insects and does a lot of studying of insects, knows a lot about insects. Anyway, the absolute worst thing that could possibly happen to her, in her view, happens. Her neighborhood is redistricted, which means the school system has changed the boundaries. And just as she's about to go into seventh grade, her street gets redistricted and she's going to one school, and everybody she knows from elementary school, her best friend, her whole friend group, they're all going to a different school,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
is just dreadful. And then she has perhaps the worst first day ever. She trips on the stairs and falls into the cutest boy at school and causes a pileup and gets labeled faceplant girl. And then she causes a commotion in the cafeteria and she lands in the principal's office. And she decides the only thing she can do is try to get expelled so that she can be, she thinks
Yes.
to be sent, she thinks she could choose a different school to go to.
Yes, yes.
Which
So, oh my gosh, I mean, it starts off, it automatically, I just have to say, automatically, I relate to Bunny Baxter. Um, I'm not exactly a ginger, but growing up anyway, I color my hair now. But I had a lot more red in my hair back in the day, and so I was kind of a ginger. And when she gets embarrassed, she flushes, right? And oh my gosh, I can relate to that because I used to do that too. And it's so embarrassing. And it's like you're embarrassed and then you flush and you know you're flushing and you're more embarrassed and your face turns red and your neck turns red and you get all blotchy and people look at you like, is there something wrong? Do we need to get you an EpiPen? I mean, it's just, I totally related to her right off the bat. And then that funny scene where it's like funny and you just feel for her because it's like, oh, that poor kid, new
that
kid
poor
at
kid.
school. Oh my goodness. So you deal with so many themes in this book, and it's really remarkable. I've got to say, it's remarkable how many things you covered in this book that are, again, so relatable. Belonging, right? Belonging to a group. Talk a little bit about that. Talk so she's adopted. So talk a little bit about how you wove her being adopted into her finding her place at school, at the new school, because it was
Hmm.
beautiful.
Well, I guess what I'll start out with was why I chose to have her be a child who was adopted into her family. So one of my writing friends who had been adopted into her family and who subsequently adopted her own children said that she couldn't find very many books in which the main character had been adopted. And of the
Ah,
ones she found, almost all of them dealt with some issue directly related to the adoption itself, trying to find a birth parent or maybe going through some kind of child care system before finding a family. And she felt like there needed to be more stories about kids who had been adopted, but more than that, she felt like there needed to be a wider variety of stories, that these kids are just like any other kid. They just happen to have come into their family in a slightly different way. And since my husband and I had adopted one of our children, I thought, oh, easy, I'll do that. And so 5 years later, here's the book. No book is easy for me. Um, and so that's kind of where I started, which, that's not a story. And so I had to kind of, weave my way into the story. Um, and I guess, one of my friends who was a middle school teacher, she said, you must have been a middle school teacher. This is so middle school. And I said, well, no, I wasn't. But I remember how incredibly awkward I felt in middle school and how, um, just that part of childhood is so involved with finding your group, figuring out who you are, and part of who you are is who you uh, choose for friends and who chooses you for a friend. This
yes,
is a big part of it.
yes.
And so I guess that part of it just kind of, flowed into the whole idea that these are middle school kids. And so this is something that happens in middle school.
Well, you wove it in so beautifully. And you know what's funny? My first question, which I forgot to ask you, was have you been a teacher? Because this is so middle school. I taught seventh grade language arts back in Colorado Springs in 2006 in a school that ended up closing. And boy, did I relate to so many things that you have in Bunny's story. Holy mackerel. So yeah, finding her place in her home, being, like father, like daughter, because she was adopted as a baby and that's those are her parents. It was absolutely beautiful. You talk about friendship versus winning. That comes in as well. And so again, talk a little bit about some of the choices she makes and how, why did that theme or that idea come to you?
Oh dear.
And that's a tough one because again,
you
you
know,
you
I have to say, this sounds ridiculous, but some of writing is sort of mysterious. Things just kind of filter in. Um, and um, so the way that the winning comes in is that one of Bunny's main friends from childhood are all volleyball players, and so they're together a lot as a group. And so Bunny feels more and more left out, that she can't even, be with her old friends during out of school times because they're involved with volleyball. And I wanted to find some way to bring them together. Um, so I think because these things do tend to be a little vague.
uh-huh.
That's why I brought in the the contest between the two schools, so that they would have to come into contact over athletic competition, even though Bunny has always felt like she's not good at any sports. Well, it turns out she's very good at badminton because she has really great hand-eye coordination,
Yes.
which she
Yes.
has never known because she's never really tried it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Again, trying things. She's reluctant. She's always reluctant, right? Kind of, she's the reluctant hero in the story.
I
Uh,
guess so.
yeah, which is
Anyway,
fabulous.
so I think that this time in childhood is also a time of great change in kids. And so
Oh yeah.
as they're finding their group. A lot of times the groups change a lot between elementary school and middle school. You know, all of a sudden there are a lot more kids from different schools usually. And you find some friendships kind of falling away and others starting, and navigating those things and trying to figure out, you know, can we still be friends if we're kind of heading in opposite directions?
Yeah.
Um, and you know, and that can be very painful.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
anyway, that's I guess how that came in.
Yeah, and being part of a group is so important in those
Yes,
years
yes.
where
I
you
mean, you
figure
think
you're
about
not.
how, you know, how if you see groups of girls, particularly at that age, walking like through the mall or something like that, they literally are, you know, shoulder to shoulder, all together, heads together, giggling, looking at their phones these days. But you know, they're pack animals
Yes, yeah,
basically,
yeah,
and so finding your pack is a very big thing.
yes. And again, being, Bunny, being awkward, she can't hide herself being, I mean,
So,
flaming red hair, and yeah, she can't just hide
right,
in a
which is
group,
what she wants to do.
which is what she wants to do. And oh, it's just so funny. The consequences of her actions, feeling bad about being bad. She tries to get kicked out. And so she has to do things that are not in her nature,
Right.
which again, kind of funny. I love the way you involve the principal and the understanding. I mean, so much going on in this book. Handling stress. Talk about the box breathing.
Oh, well, um, so, you know, one of the things that writers have to do is be mean to their main characters. It's basically what it comes down to. You have to throw obstacles in their
Yeah,
way. And
yeah.
so, you know, having Bunny just be kind of a shy kid, well, okay, she's kind of shy, but you know, so
Give her more.
yeah, I mean, you know, when I started fifth grade, I went to a school where I didn't know anybody, and I was, you know, pretty nervous about it. But you know, it was okay. After a day or two, it was fine. But I needed Bunny to be more worried about it, and so I pushed her from, you know, kind of shy to really close to, you know, social anxiety.
Yeah.
Um, and so then I did a bunch of research about how you deal with social anxiety when it's, you know, at that really high level, and I came upon this box breathing technique that apparently it's what Navy SEALs use when they're going into a very stressful situation.
Really?
You know, I can't say that I absolutely know that. It's what I read, so hopefully
Okay,
it's
okay.
correct. Um, but yeah, it really is a very calming thing if you do this counting and you breathe in for a certain number of counts and hold your breath and then breathe out for the same number of counts all the way around, breathe out and then hold your breath again, and it really does calm you down. um, and so it seemed to me that I needed to give Bunny some way to calm herself down when she's really stressed out about something. And this seemed like a, you know, a good thing. More than just take a deep breath. You know, take a deep
Yeah.
breath
Yeah.
is good, but she needed something more than that. So yeah,
Right. And she actually physically, would, four breaths in, hold it four breaths out. Yeah, four counts, Yeah,
right. And actually, that
it's
was something that I had read too. That some school counselors, you know, do that for small children who need to have some kind of calming thing, is they'll put a little tape thing on their desk so they can count around.
yeah,
So
count and
seemed like a
even
good
just
idea.
feel something, get your thoughts out of your head and onto something else, something neutral, really. Yeah. Um, also, she has a scarab, right? Which fascinated me too. I learned so much in this book. And again, some people have worry stones. I have this beautiful shell that I got in the shores of North Carolina. It's perfect. It fits right in my thumb, and it's so smooth. And it's just, I mean, you kind of almost can't not rub it.
Right, sure, yeah.
So
And
again,
yeah, and so I had thought of that too, of a worry stone. But again, I wanted to make her work harder at it, and also
yeah,
just I wanted to emphasize how completely fascinated she is with insects, so much so that even her grandmother, who has gone on a trip to Egypt and
Egypt.
brings Bunny's sister a necklace, but she brings Bunny little stone bugs because she knows how much Bunny is interested in insects. So yeah,
And of course, the beetle is a dung beetle, and so again, she gets mercilessly teased throughout this for so many
yeah,
things that are important to her.
yeah.
Oh, it's like I said, I think so many middle grade kids and adults can relate to this book because again, it took me back. It sure took me back. Bunny has you gave her pretty complex vocabulary, and I guess maybe let me ask you why. Was that purposeful?
No.
Okay.
No.
All right. And she also has lyrical observations. May I just read a
Sure,
passage?
please.
All right.
Hmm.
So her father has been terracing. All right. And again,
Oh, right. Mhm.
he's like her adopted father. Whoops. All right. She says, I can see the plan and pattern of the garden. Waves of perennials interplanted with tall, blooming grasses seem to spill down from tier to tier like a stream cascading over stone ledges, pooling beneath a cluster of willows that drip their silvery leaves across the surface of the pond. Ooh, I mean, she's she's poetic. She's she certainly has a vision. Do you write poetry?
No.
No?
I do like reading some poetry. Uh, but I am a gardener, and I love art and I love gardens, and the two go together. Gardens to me are like painting with color and texture and scent, and uh, and it seemed to me that because Bunny is so focused on insects and their interplay with plants, that she would also see the details of
Yeah,
how things are working together because
yeah,
she understands the details of the symbiosis between plants and insects.
yeah, yeah.
And so to see the visual interplay, I think made sense for her as well.
The beauty and the art, it's all just gorgeous. I love your characters. Her friend Sylvia with her bun accessories. Oh my gosh, hilarious! So funny. Everybody out there. I mean, you're gonna get this book and you're gonna read it. And you're gonna love it. I love Sylvia with her bun accessories, and she does this to make a statement. This is a friend who's also kind of shy, but comes out of her shell as well. Ralph the dog. Do you have a dog or dogs?
We do have a dog. I'm afraid our dog is not as well behaved as Ralph.
Well, what I loved about Ralph was Bunny's relationship with him and how she interprets his tail thumps. And so she'll talk to Ralph. Obviously, he's also, a friend and helps her work through things. So, instead of talking to yourself, you can talk to this dog. And depending on how his ears go or his tail thumbs, she then talks about, what that means, what he means. And it's delightful. It's delightful. Ms. Clodfelter's discovery class. Did you ever have a class like this in
No,
school?
wouldn't you have loved to have had that class though?
Yes. Yes. Uh,
in
what a
my, in my
class.
in my first version of this, when I was hunting around for a story, and the first couple of tries were really dreadful, I have to say, it was an art class, but I'm not an artist. I don't really know very much about art other than as someone who visually
Appreciating it.
appreciates
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
um, and it just wasn't very interesting. And I don't know how this idea came to me. It could have been just that it was the class I wanted, um, and or I would have wanted if I'd
Yeah.
been able to think about that. Um, I'm afraid my cat might be about to jump in front of the
Oh,
computer.
that's all right. That's all right. Jump away as long
Oh
as she
God.
doesn't disconnect us.
Yes, yes, that's right. Anyway, it just, was I, this sounds ridiculous, but there really are these times in writing where, it's just sort of is like a mystery that things just sort of come to you. Bunny's voice, her first thing she says, if I were an insect, I'd have
Five.
so many ways to
Yes.
go through seventh grade
Yes.
unnoticed.
Yes.
It just came into my head,
Yeah,
and
yeah, and
and when that
you use that as a thread
right, and
for her
so when that
different
happened,
emotions. Yeah.
um, that it was like, oh, okay, here's Bunny's voice. Um, and so I think that class somehow just sort of, came about as well. And
Yeah.
I wish I could tell you exactly how I thought it up, but
It was your muse. Your
yes, it
muse
was. It
said,
was
"Boom,
definitely my muse.
you're going to have a discovery class and these 7th grade students are going to have to present a project in order to spend $2,000 for the school." And talk about something that works both with and against them in so many ways. And when I'm not going to talk about, what happens, you're going to have to read it because it is beautiful. It's perfect. Anyway, I would have loved a discovery class as well. And again, the teacher was great. I learned so much from this book.
Oh,
Uh,
thank you.
Talk about, I mean, stickers on monarch wings. Talk about that.
Oh, well, so as I'm a gardener, and as I was beginning to work on this book and thinking about it, I was reading more and more articles in gardening magazines and, about a crisis in pollinators, and that where bees are disappearing and monarch butterflies are disappearing, and so I just, I went into my research
Research
hole and I
hole.
started reading more books. But one of the things I came upon was this organization, Monarch Watch, that it started many years ago, and it actually was started um, to figure out where monarchs were going in the wintertime, because for a long time no one knew that this huge group of monarchs that come through the Midwest and the eastern United States overwinter in the mountains in Mexico. And so, um, gosh, I can't remember the names of the scientists, but they got people all through the United States, kids and all kinds of people, to put little stickers on them to see where they were going. And over the years, it's become a way to count and to see, how many monarchs are still around, what's going on, where they might be having trouble. And so I emailed to Monarch Watch and I said, would it be okay for me to, could you send me some of those stickers so that I can see what they're like and everything? And they said, well, you have to promise not to use these because they're last year's stickers. I said, okay, that's fine. So, because they didn't want to get mixed up with like the new group of monarchs that might be going through. And,
Okay.
I did not use the stickers, but I wanted to see how big they are, what they really
Yeah.
feel like.
Yeah.
I watched all of their YouTubes about how you tag butterflies and what goes on. I bought a butterfly net so that I could feel what it felt like to catch butterflies. Um, yeah, all that. And then it became an sort of an obvious thing for Bunny um, to find this problem of dead monarch on the track there at
Yeah.
her middle school, and
Yeah.
that launches her into her idea for what her discoveries project is going to be, which is to create a butterfly garden there at
Yeah.
school to help support the
Yeah.
insects.
Yeah.
um,
It was fascinating. And again, what I learned, and I'm going to have a link to Monarch Watch. I'll have
yes.
a link below to
and,
that as
and
well, because, yeah, go ahead.
there's another organization which I didn't mention here, but it's called Journey North, I think is what it is. And it in this case, school kids again track the monarchs the other way. So when they start coming
Oh,
north
okay.
in the spring, they'll tag them and count them.
Okay. All
I
right.
think that's what it's called.
All right, I'll look for it. I'll find a link. And again, yeah, because most people don't love bugs, right?
This is true.
And butterflies are beautiful, and yet they are, still insects. And so how she uses their beauty and all that to uh, get her team together, let's say, yeah, to reduce fears as well. Yeah, which is beautiful. I would like to have Bunny as a friend.
Oh, well, that's
Absolutely.
nice.
Yeah. So, and again, you're if I were an insect, showing her emotions as they change kind of throughout the book. Ultimately, she has to make some very big and very mature decisions, at the end. And again, we're not going to talk about what they are and how it ends because she's gone through a lot in the course of your story. Which again is a page turner. I just kept wanting to know what was going to happen next, what next faux pas she was she was going to make, and you know how should end up in the end because I your writing is beautiful. Um, do you have any shout outs to people who might have helped you with this story?
My main shout out is to my critique group,
Yeah.
who I did a Master's of Fine Arts at Hamlin University in St. Paul, and so a group of women who were there with me, we meet up on Zoom to help each other and critique each other's work and work through. And I really did struggle with this book a lot because it does have a
Can't
lot going
tell.
on. And, it was like, well, what is it really about? Anyway, they helped me a great deal. Um, I, and I have a wonderful agent, Ginger Knowlton, who really is, I can't say enough good things about her. And she sent this book to Margaret Ferguson at Holiday House. And Margaret is sort of a legendary editor, and several books that I really liked, she edited. And so I'm just incredibly grateful to Margaret. She was the perfect editor for this book. And yeah, so
Uh,
all those people.
all those, everybody. I'm a member of Central Colorado Writers, and we also have a critique group that meets the first two Wednesdays of every month. And again, writers out there, get yourself into a critique group. I think we all believe our writing is awesome. Otherwise, we wouldn't
It
publish
is.
it
It is. All of our writing
because
is
it
awesome.
is. It is all awesome. And again, we know what we mean, we know what we want to say, but it doesn't always translate to readers. So and you have to be very open to be in a critique group, right?
Yes, you do. And, one of the good things about working with this group of women is we all went through the same program together. And so we kind of had the same training in a way of, how to workshop something. Um, yeah, you have to appreciate what's really working and then find a way to talk about what's not working in a way that doesn't crush the, the writer.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
um, but all of these women are really good writers, and so we always have lots of good things to say to each
Yeah,
other.
yeah. You do the
I will
sandwich thing.
mention,
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Oh, I'll just mention one thing about craft, and this has to do
Yeah.
with Ralph. So I
Ralph the
did.
dog. Ralph the dog.
Yes, Ralph the dog. I'm sorry, and I did want to have animals in this book. Originally, there was a cat as well, but I was told that I just had too many characters. So anyway, so poor Attila had to go. And anyway, so I wanted to have my cat's tail. I wanted to have animals. I don't want to have an animal right now. Anyway, but the other reason to have Ralph and to use him in the way that I did, that Bunny talks to him and interprets his, tail wagging and whatever to mean different things, is it really is a way to get your character out of internal dialogue.
Yes.
Can be really annoying, when your character just thinks and thinks and thinks and. But if they have someone to talk to, in my first book, Nikki on the Line, which is about a girl who plays basketball, she has a poster on the wall of her favorite basketball player. And so she talks to the poster. So and in that book, I had been told by a faculty member at Hamlin, she's too much in her head. And so this was a way to figure that out. So writers out there who are struggling with having, too much internal dialogue, give your character somebody to talk to
Or
that
something.
or
Yeah,
something,
that's
yeah,
brilliant. I
yeah.
love that.
Uh, it's
Yeah,
not my idea, I have to say. If you, I don't know if you've read The Golden Compass by Philip Pullman,
not yet.
but um, it, I'm not much of a fantasy reader, but it really is it's a wonderful book. Anyway, so his main character, Lyra, she has a demon that sort of, it's the other half of herself, sort of,
Okay,
and
okay.
it functions in that same way.
All right.
So she has this other creature that she has this internal, it's instead of internal dialogue, they have, they argue things out together. And I thought, wow, that's really smart.
That is
Can I
really
do
smart.
that?
Yeah. I mean, Tom Hanks talking to the soccer ball?
Yes, yes, yes.
Whatever
Yeah,
that
how would you
was.
make a movie about
Right, right,
my
right.
cat has just
I
moved me around?
I love that. I love that. Well, my next question was going to be, do you have any tips or advice for about writing and publishing?
My main advice is just you have to just stick to it. If you're if you really want to do this, it's a long haul.
Yeah.
My first novel I worked on for 10 years. I mean, I wasn't working on it straight for that amount of
Yeah,
time,
yeah.
but on and off for 10 years. And this one, 5 years. Um, it just, there are some people who can just crank these things out. I am not one of those people. I am a slow writer and I spend a lot of time staring at the wall. Um, but yeah, it takes a lot of perseverance. It takes it's really hard to find an agent. It's hard to sell a book, and it's really easy to just say enough. I'm done. Now, these days there are other options. A lot of people self-publish and
Yep.
they
I do.
have, oh, okay, yeah. And
Yep.
so it's a great way to go.
Yeah.
But again, but still, if you're going to be successful at it, you have to work hard at your craft. And
Yes.
so, yeah, so that's the main
Yes.
thing. Work hard at
It's
your craft.
yeah, it is not easy. And you talk about 5 years. I'm into my sixth year of my novel, which will be out before the holidays. And let me
Oh,
just
wonderful.
the editing. I have edited so many times, and again, given it to beta readers, and have gotten so much incredible insight and suggestions. And again, you don't always have to take suggestions that your beta readers, offer, but oftentimes they're right. And again, if they're reading something, if they're confused about something, if they um, suggest that maybe you get rid of the cat, which my one of my good friends told me I needed to kill the cat in my novel.
Right, right. There you go.
Not kill the cat,
Right.
but but she asked, "What's the purpose of the cat?" And she didn't buy my it's cute and it helps the mother. She's like,
Yeah.
that's not good enough. You need to
Yep,
kill the
yep, yep,
cat.
yep.
So the cat's got to go. She's like, you either need to make the cat a very important part of the story, as you do with Ralph, or you need to get rid of the cat.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. The
I
other thing I would say is you do have to also develop a thick skin.
yeah.
You have to realize that once it's down on the page, it's not you, it's something you've made.
Yes.
And yeah, it can be kind of hard to take criticism, but so after, my first novel, Nikki on the Line, after working on it for years and years and years, and finally finding an agent and finally selling it to a publisher,
Sure.
who the editor, who was wonderful, I have to say, when they first bought the book, she said, "Oh, we love this book. We love the characters. We love Nikki. We love blah blah blah, and we just can't wait to publish it." And then I got my first editorial letter, and it was 11 single-spaced pages.
Oh.
So I,
Wow.
I thought, Whoa, I'd hate to see if
Wow.
they didn't love it.
Oh my gosh.
So,
Whoa. Out of those 11 single spaced pages, how
and
much of
it
it did
was,
you have to actually do?
oh, all of it. I mean, I mean, I had to take it all in. Some of it was, let's look at the structure of the book. And there were some things like, we think this scene is in the wrong place.
Okay. Yeah.
I think it goes in this part of the book instead of that part of the book,
Yeah.
things like that.
Okay.
The hardest thing they said was, there's a boy in the book, and they said, oh, we all love Booker. We want to see more of Booker. We want to see what he's like with his own parents, because he's in Nikki's classes. He comes over to her house. And I'm thinking, well, this is a first person narration. To
How
see
would,
Booker with his parents, I've got to get Nikki over there. Now, how am I going to do
yeah.
that? So, but you think
Yeah.
about things and you come up with something. So that's what I mean. You have to be open to critique, and sometimes you'll go, that doesn't seem right. But if you think about it, maybe it does seem right in the end, or maybe there's a way that it seems right, or maybe it really doesn't seem right. And then you just go, no, I think I'm right about this. So, because everybody comes at things from a different angle.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so,
We bring
yeah,
our own baggage to what we read and our own
yeah.
experiences to what we read. And again, once you publish, right, it's not yours anymore. I've said this a million times. It belongs to me. This belongs to me now, and I'm going to get out of it what I want to get out of it and what I relate to and all that. So thanks for this gift that you gave me, and now it's mine. And now it should be everybody's out there.
Well, I
Um,
appreciate that.
everyone, the author, Barbara Carroll Roberts. The book, The Metamorphosis of Bunny Baxter, absolutely delightful. I would say this is a must-read middle grade book for middle grade students who are maybe experiencing some of these same issues, and for parents, for anyone who's ever been a middle school student. This is absolutely delightful. Barbara, I will have links to your sites and where you can get both your books down below. And if listeners out there, if you have enjoyed this episode, please like and subscribe. And if you even want to, you might even buy me a little treat for introducing you to so many great guests. There's a link below for that too. Barbara, any final words?
I think that's it. I've really enjoyed this. You asked great questions, and it's been a lot of fun.
I have a lot of fun with my authors and with anybody else who might want to have a conversation with me. Email me. My email link's below if you want to talk to me. You don't have to be an author to be on my show. If you just want to chat about something, we can just chat about something. So, Barbara, keep being awesome and please stay in touch. And thank you for the metamorphosis of Bunny Baxter, a delightful book.
Thank you. It's been fun.
Have an awesome rest of the summer because it's not fall yet, right?
Not fall yet. It is
It's
not
not fall
fall
yet. Okay. All
yet.
right. We're gonna keep wearing our spring summer colors. All right. Take care. Have a lovely, lovely
All
life.
right.
All right. Bye
Thank
bye.
you.